and the entire body becomes so ideal, and the heartbeat maintained very well with the good breathing. Inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, and the heartbeat flows perfectly, beautifully. And because they work beautifully, the soul emerge,
Hmm.
and the soul give a very special message, beautiful one, because that's how the home of any good message from God. So the cosmic energy work perfectly with us. We work together beautifully with the universe, and the cycles become balanced. And because of that, anything that we do, we pray, we recite, we talk, we communicate, it's just a soul talking.
Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Let's Create the Revolution Together, a podcast about creating new ways to embody ourselves as human. If you're here, you're probably well aware of all the shifts that are happening on our planet. Maybe you go with the flow with those changes, or maybe you're struggling to find who you truly are. Either way, this space right here is for you. My name is Marigold Era. I'm an Ayurvedic wellness coach, a spiritual life coach, and a podcaster. I am here to guide you through this reality that we can call the Earth School. I strongly believe that we are here to create new ways to show up as individual and as collective, and that every experience that we encounter is an opportunity to grow and evolve. So grab yourself something to drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right into the next episode. Hello, beautiful beings. Today is a very special episode because it's the last interview that I'm presenting to you for Let's Create the Revolution Together. Next week, I'll be sharing with you a solo episode, and then I'll be working full time on the next phase of this podcast, which I'm so excited for. So, in this week's episode, I'm interviewing an amazing being. And since 2005, Shanti, the person that I'm interviewing in this episode, has been shining her light and love onto our Muslim community, bringing new perspective on the way we can interact with God. In our talk, Shanti is talking about science meeting spirituality and how she's leading people from her community, bringing those two to make a whole. She went from being a model to being a coach and therapist, and she's now sharing her knowledge in Indonesia and Malaysia. I also wanted to talk to you about the second free workshop that I'm doing on motherhood. The first one was so fun that I decided to do a second one. This one's going to be hosted on December 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So, if you're a mother and you want to connect with other amazing mothers, if you need support in your motherhood, or if you just want to learn more about how to be a mother in a more spiritual way, you're invited to come to this workshop. You can register at marigoldera.com/free workshop or simply click on the link in the description down below. Um, I wanted to say also that I'm so sorry for the sound on my part in this podcast. I really don't know what happened, but my voice sounds so strange in this recording. But I still wanted to share this episode with you because Shanti's insights are just so valuable, and it was such a great interview that we did together. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave your comments. Reach out if you have something you want to add to this conversation. So don't hesitate on sharing it. And you can also rate the podcast. And so I'm going to leave you to that. Take a listen and let me know what you think. Hey, Shanti.
Hi, Mariga. How are you? I've been looking forward for such a long time, I guess. Feel like years to
I
be
know,
here with
right?
you.
Yes, it feels the same for me. I was like, when are we gonna meet again? This is so cool. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you're here, and I'm
Thank you
so
so much.
eager to hear all of that story again and like talk about your mission and all of that. What you're doing in the world is it's just so amazing. So let's start there. Let's start with your mission. What are you here to do?
Okay, so I'm here with you and as well as with the universe that give me the permission to be here since 2005 in Indonesia and then 2013 in Malaysia. And my mission is very simple actually. I wanted to present the lights that the divine, the source, has created within me and leveraging, distributing, vibrating, into the entire universe with all the human being that I can touch the heart with. Yeah. And I guess the love and the lights within myself need to be spread out larger, not only for me, for my family, so that I could contribute, in a most special way that I could do. Yeah. So that I have a meaning, for living in this beautiful universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now here I am with you, Marigold. I guess the same with you too. You have purpose, you have vision, and your mission with this podcast is so incredible. And I'm so honored to be part of this journey together with you.
Thank
Beautiful. Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just as honored as you are to have you here right now. I mean, your mission and the way that you're appearing in the world, it's just so wonderful and so it's needed too. And how about we talk about the space that you've created for people? Like I know that you're Muslim and you've created a place and you're melting stuff together so that we can create something different in that realm. So, would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, yes, Marigo. Thanks so much because I've been looking forward to spread out a good news, especially to Muslim community that I was born with, and then grow up, and then developing myself in a very special way that I could possibly can, because I know that in Islamic term or in the Muslim community myself, spirituality need to be met with the science, and science need to be met with the spirituality in a very much deeper essence. Yeah, because in the Islamic term, we have knowledge about tasawwuf, which is tasawwuf is a special knowledge teaching about the power of the heart, which is we all know that the heart center consciousness become the most powerful source and the main source, as the main generator to give a very good operation for all the system, in the human body, complex system as well as outside of us, also depending on how stable, how coherent of the human being heart. So I wanted to introduce this in the larger spectrum with the larger point of view into this Muslim community so that they may heard from a different angle, from a different point of view, rather than only heard from the Islamic point of view. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could enrich, their understanding about the power of the heart itself, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is
Yes.
one of my main perspective doing
Yeah, I
this.
love that. I love that so much. How was it received at the beginning when you started to do it?
It was the beginning is 2001 actually, because I was sick. I
Uh-huh.
was having migraine myself for the 41 days nonstop, and then panic attack, and then gastric consistently, quite oftenly. And but before that, prior before that, in the 1999, I was attempted to do my suicide myself. Um, so then I was like, wow, this is a big alarm for me, in 2001. Why in these 2 years, I've got these lessons, and this must be something that I need to be shifted in order for me to transform the old energy myself, which is the old self of myself, to become the true me. But I need to move. I need to come across the river of change, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so that I didn't stay at the same place, you see. So I'm wondering, Marigold, why? And then what is Allah trying, my God trying to teach me by
Yeah.
having these 2 years, sleeping, and I didn't do anything more into the beneficial way, for myself, for my family, and for others,
Mm.
so that become my deepest contemplation that I ever had in my life. And that's how my journey began to become a therapist, a coach, and then try to mastering myself first, so that
Yeah.
when I spread out this wisdom, I'm not only talking, but I have my own testimonial story about this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so, so amazing. Where were you before that? Like, what was like your title? What were you doing?
I was a model from Indonesia, and then travel around the globe, promoting Indonesian fashion designer. And then 2 years after I become a model, I had an idea. Hey, as a model, one day there are a lot of younger generation, and then I will lose my path, in
Mm,
terms of being here, you know
yeah.
with the good image, or with the good reputation, and then something that I need to continue, so that the career will not last only for the several years,
Yeah.
so I create fashion shoes special for women, so be together, with the as a model, and then as well as a fashion shoes designer. So that's how I came into the special existence in this universe. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were a model, and then while you were modeling, you got like those migraine. That's what happened, right?
Yeah, I think one of those moments, because it was quite shock, because I started as a to become a model in such a young age,
Mm,
of my age of 18.
yeah.
So as you also know, the teenager brain, will also have a different shape and different quantity, different frequency, different maturity, to become the mature one, so I think the environment shaped me, and then how my parents raised me up, and then as well as my old trauma from the ancestors all be together, you
Yeah.
know then shape my life. And as you know as well, not many people learn about spirituality, and then about heart coherence,
Mm,
about
mm,
the
mm.
energy itself. So I've gone through those moments, those years, where I get to know myself more and more. But unfortunately, we are not in the special technology where we could know, how to handle the stress.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. You're so right. So tell me,
Then, yeah. No.
like your community, your Muslim community, how did they react to what you were saying about art coherence and like all that stuff, the spiritual stuff, because religion and spirituality are two different things.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how did they
Um,
react?
Yeah. You are very right because I I introduced to them in the most common way that they could possibly understand. Yeah.
Mm,
For example, okay, brother, sister, I know that you pray, the same with myself. I know that you wake up early in the morning, the same with myself. You also fasting, you also go to the mosque, And then I have interesting questions to you. Are you still facing your own stress?
mm,
And then maybe you feel something block your way. Maybe something that you want to do, but you can't do. It feels like somebody holds your back and you can't feel that you are able to move forward. So these common questions I share to them, and
mm,
then they say yes. Okay, so do you think that your prayers, your zikir, your recitation of Quran or go to the mosque, they are wrong? And then they said no. Okay, so now what's stopping you? What make you still have stress? You are not supposed to have stress if we are unite clearly with our heart and soul and connected with the source, with Allah.
mhm,
So which part do you think that you still need to look after and do better? So these are the questions that I ask to them. And then they will start to think, hey, yeah, maybe my heart, maybe the way I connect with him, not in the ideal one. Okay. So then I go slowly. Inside your body, there is a heart. And then so our prophet said that if we could take care the heart, we could take care our life, you know. And then they said, if you can take care the heart, how do you feel when you are happy? How do you feel? Oh, I feel so happy. That's called spirit. That's called spirituality. And
mm,
if you are happy, and then when you meet your God, you meet Allah, when the happiness is with you, when the joy is with you, when the peace is with you, how could you have this connection? Can be, wow, this will be good. This will be great. Okay, so I would like to introduce you with this. There is a special connection between your spirit inside your soul and your energetic field with it inside your body and with our religion.
mm.
Then they said, wow, is there any connection? Of course. you know how you do that? Through the breathing. Okay, let's
Mm,
let's try. Let's try to open up yourself more, to understand about the spirit, connect with our religion through the breathing. Okay, let's try. So then we do the breathing. Very basic one. Inhale and exhale. How do you feel? Are you feeling calmer? Something is soothing you. You
mm,
feel like some space open up bit by bit when you do the inhale, exhale. Oh yes, oh yes. Okay, now how do you feel? Your mind is much clearer? Oh yes. How do you feel now in your body? I feel fresh. Okay, now after you feel like this, then you pray. And then you give the testimony yourself to me. And then they prove it. And then they are able, yeah, they're able to make this connection. And they open up themselves more. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so curious about like what's happening after you connect your breathing and your prayer. I mean, like this is well for you. Like, what happened when you did that?
Okay. So what had happened, as you know, that when we do the good breathing, the prana, the oxygen will go through our nostrils And then inside the system of our nose, inner nose, there is a special chemical called nitric oxide,
Mm-hmm.
and that chemical will convert that oxygen and the life prana to become the most beneficial effect, which is anti-stress, antivirus. Then it goes to the lung, and the space of the lung coming bigger, and then goes through the lungs and into the our stomach, and then inside our stomach there is a vagus nerves, you know, and then the autonomic nervous system work perfectly because they have the vitamin, based on the nitric oxide chemical, and then
Yeah.
goes into the special stimulation process, and as well as that the solar plexus in our belly work perfectly if they've been stimulated with the good chemical, and they are
Yeah.
coming down the nervous system, and then as well as some trauma, some fear, worries, anxiety,
Mm.
got a special touching, and then it goes to the all the nervous system, vagus nerves, and then the heartbeat slowing down because
Mm-hmm.
of that, and because the heartbeat slowing down, it goes very good, the magnetic field into the brain, and the neocortex, the pineal gland, the frontal lobe receive a special instruction. Wow, this chemical felt good to me, then it will goes hand in hand between the heart, the brain, all the system, then they create a special homeostasis process, which is the immune system works good, the self-defense system works good, and the entire body becomes so ideal, you
Yeah.
know, and the heartbeat maintained very well with the good breathing. Inhale and exhale, and the heartbeat flows perfectly, beautifully. And because they work beautifully, the soul emerge,
Hmm.
and the soul give a very special message, beautiful one, because that's how the home of any good message from God, you know so the cosmic energy work perfectly with us, we work together beautifully with the universe, and the cycles become balanced, and because of that, anything that we do, we pray, we recite, we talk, we communicate, it's just a soul talking.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no more. It's no more about the 3D dimension, 3D talking. It is about the 5D talking. It is about the 4D talking. It is about the spirituality talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
love
how it
that.
is.
That's how it is. That's exactly how it
Yeah,
is. I love how you can combine science like that with spirituality and religion, and to mix all of those three together so you can have like
yeah.
something to offer the world. It's just like it blows my mind. It's so amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's the path, the movement that I did, through this community, not always went smooth. I understand that, because why? Because there are many variety of character and personality inside the society, and we
Mm-hmm.
also both know that this society been programmed as well, domesticated in a such a
Yes.
way, as well as the ancestors play the biggest role as well, for how they shape our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And we all know 95% of our
Yeah.
behavior conducted by our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And it's only
Yeah.
5% left,
I
with the
know.
conscious mind in the reality. And so
Yeah.
I I have I have to do my inner work as well, Marigold, to share
No.
and to spread out this message to the world
Yeah.
inside the Muslim community. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I need to open up my heart space bigger so that I become more unconditional love, and then
Mm-hmm.
compassion, empathy, understanding in a deeper way, so that I don't create my own judgment to
Yes.
myself and to others. who don't want to understand at that particular moment when I
Yeah.
share this message. Even though this message is so good, but I have to respect.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Yeah.
times that the people will understand with their own process too, right?
Yeah, and it's not personal. Like that's something that I had to come around, it's not personal to me, because when you're acting from that heart space, you actually know in a deep way that it has nothing to do with you. That's the ego that wants to be like, oh, look at me, but it's more of like, come with me, come with me if it feels right for
Yes,
you. And by doing it like with the heart open like that, like you cannot
correct.
take it personal. Like if they're not ready, it's not against you, it's not because of you, it's not because you said something like wrong. I don't know, it's just like,
Yeah,
I feel like it's part of doing that work, right? To be
yes,
there and like sharing that message, which is like so new and so out there, you have to
yes,
be you have to be strong in a way that you're not like armoring up yourself, like closing up yourself. You got to be strong from the heart, from that love
yes,
space. It's different kind of
correct.
force, strong, like it's different kind of strength.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, because it took me years to understand how love works for me and how actually universe work with love and light. Because before that, I could not understand so easy when the people don't understand.
Yeah.
I tend to, why you cannot understand? I can understand why you can't. I mean, this is knowledge, you know. Uh, yeah, but then that's how my migraine came, take over my life, because I I was a person. My past aspect was a person who tend to force the nature, or to force her own opinion to be
Mm-hmm.
accepted by other people. And if the people can't understand her, you know she could not take it, she could not understand. And then gradually she grows by the time goes on, learning by the mistake, learning by the contrast that coming into her life, until the 1999, and then 2001. Then gradually she come across to the river of change, and push her into special direction, that herself need to make this big transformation. Yeah, then
Yeah.
the love and the lights came to the service myself, until I understand, wow, when I understand myself, I can understand other people.
Yes. Yes, it's like when you reach that self compassion, that's when you
Yes.
can actually like give it to the world, to give it to other people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is strange process actually, because I've got a special gift that God gave to me on my age of the 8 years young, and then gradually become stronger and stronger, which is I could sense people's energy field, and then I could literally, saying something to that person, if this person has an energy block in the certain part of
Mm-hmm.
the body,
Yeah.
and what kind of emotion that they are involved, and then which trauma that block their way,
Yeah.
so that sensation that I could catch from this person become one of my shortcut when I help the people to heal themselves, because um, the road becomes shorter. Yeah, because
Yes.
I could sense, and then they also able to admit, and the long way becomes shorter, and then we just need to dive in a little bit more, so
Yeah.
that they could understand themselves. Then I help with the many modalities that I've learned so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I relate to that a lot. When I was younger, I felt energy as well, but I couldn't understand. I couldn't like there were
Yeah.
nobody around me that could like explain that to me or like
Yes.
nurture that, like have compassion and you kind
Hmm.
of get you could get confused with like when you sense other people's energy because you can like get confused and like thinking that it's my energy and I'm like this, and it's just
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
and to do that work of like compassion for yourself, it becomes compassion for others, and then you can separate
Definitely.
like what's happening for you and what's happening for others so that you can actually help others, and
Yes.
at the end we're all one, right? So it's like what's happening
Definitely.
for you, it's happening for me as well.
Yes, there is no separation. There is no
There's
separation actually. Yeah,
yeah.
because universe has love abundantly and lights everywhere, every inches of our life, full of love and lights.
Hmm.
But yes, I also understand for certain people who use the left brain so much,
Hmm.
they can't sense this strongly. So it is my job to help them, not to teach them because they all know they have all the power within them, but it is just forgotten,
Yeah.
because the shadow closed this soul
Yeah.
so tightly, so thick, until they can't even see what they could do best for
Mm.
themselves,
Yeah.
because we are actually spiritual human being living in the human body, human physical body. We are made by energy. Everything is just energy.
Yeah.
And that is our job, you and I, and any practitioner, therapist, coach, to reintroduce this power, to tell to them that they have within them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why in all my students in my community, I said, I don't come here to teach you. I come here to love you.
Hmm.
And my love will teach you.
I love
I
that.
just need to take the note, you know, you have this. You have this. But you can't use the left brain. You must you must combine left and right, heart center, be grounded yourself through the breathing. Breathing is the first gate.
Yeah.
The first gate. And we don't know about that. We don't know.
Yeah. And it's like it's so natural to breathe. I mean, like you don't breathe, you die. And we
Yeah,
sometimes it's like we don't understand how much power we have in that breath, and it's so simple and it's free and it's there, it's always there. You just have to do it.
correct. Yes, yes, yes. And what about you? I mean, Marigal, I mean, in this podcast, I share many experience of myself, but what about you? I mean, how we connect through the frequency in this universe is there is no coincidence, because
Yeah.
myself always excited to always declare to universe, please help me to connect me with the like-minded person, people, connect me with the special tribe that I can share whatever experience that I had in my life, maybe to Muslim community in your country, and a different community, because I know from my Muslim community, they also need help, you know, to
Yeah.
understand science in a
Yeah.
better way, better approach, so that they can make this connection. Yeah. So what about
Yeah.
you, Marigo? I mean, based on your experience, having this experience in your life.
Well, I mean, like you mean like what was my experience with my healing
Yes.
process? I
Yes,
mean,
with your
like
healing process,
yeah,
with
it's
your
it's
spirituality.
yeah, it's always like ongoing. I mean, I feel like we're always evolving, and I feel like every experience we encounter is like there to help us like go deeper into um that that spirituality. I was raised in a Christian background, Catholic, and
I felt like there was something missing, and I feel like what you're saying right now, it's exactly what's missing. I felt like the religions, and I will put them plural, but I feel like religions, like they brought separation because of the way it was taught to the people, and to be able to bring spirituality in religion. I feel like it's one key to go deeper into and to reach more people, because you're going to speak to Muslim people and I'm going to speak to other people. I will speak to mothers and I will speak to business owner and I will speak to all kinds of other people, but it's all about the same thing. It's all about uniting your true self, your hardcore like energy, and to move forward with that, you know and it's always like, I remember I did a painting of the heart chakra, and it's a women. It's just so beautiful, and it's a women, and like her heart is like moving forward,
Oh,
and it's like you gotta move with your heart first, not with your head first. It's like,
beautiful,
you know
beautiful.
and yeah, so I've learned a lot of stuff through art, through reading, through meditating. I mean, like, and I feel like when I discovered Ayurveda, like the way they're teaching healing in the body, it's just like, for us in the Western world, like it's always just about the body. And it felt like something was missing as well. And when I discovered Ayurveda, they were taking everything in consideration. So if you're sick, maybe it's because you're too stressed, or because like you have a problem in your family, or because you're like in conflict with someone, or because, I don't know, you don't like your job, or
Yes,
you're not connected to
yes,
that spiritual side. And I was like mind blown. I was like, so they're taking everything in consideration. And that's how I felt throughout my life. But this was like confirmation of like, this is real. This is actually happening. Like,
yes,
some people are actually healing themselves, but for where I was in my life, like physically, people were like not having my my opinion at all. Like, I was alien, like,
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
were
yeah.
were
Me
just
me too. First time for me too. Go went inside into the Muslim community. I mean, they could say not all, but yeah, certain people could say, "Oh, this Shanti is like strange." What you talking about?
yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, my mother passed away when I was 17, and she had like
Oh,
cancer, and I saw her like 5 year of sickness, like deep sickness, like always like never going back up, and I was I was 12 when it started, and already at that age, I was like, there's something happening. Why is she that sick right now? Like, what's happening? Like, from one day to another, she's now sick and like cannot
mm,
get back up. Like, what's happening?
mm,
There's something, like, and I was like 100% sure that it has something to do with something that she went through,
yeah, yeah,
and she was not having that. Like, she didn't want to go there. She had so many traumatic experience that she never wanted to talk about. And so for me, she was a teacher in that way. She was a teacher, and like, I
oh,
saw what's happening when you don't speak, when you don't heal, when you don't deal with the traumas. We all go through
yes,
them. It's just a
yes,
matter of learning how to. and
yes,
and for me, it started with understanding where is the conflict. Like, it shows up in that part of the body, and that part means something. It's related, and like later on, well, it's related with chakra, and there's like there's something that means, like, there's something. So if you have like a pancreatic cancer, like my mother, like, it's like in that
mm, yeah,
sacral
yeah,
chakra, and so it's like your
yes,
identity, and now you're dealing with your emotion, and like, who you are, like how you feel, and it's like something went wrong in that realm for her. It was like imbalances that were just not addressed for too long, and then it just like unraveled into something like
yeah,
dark for her. And for me, that
yeah,
was such a big teaching, to understand that if we're not dealing with what's happening in our
Yes.
life, and if we're
Gradually,
not.
gradually become illness. Yes.
Exactly, it will become illness. And I was like, I never wanted to go there, and because I saw it was to be that sick, and it was just not fun. It was so stressful for her, for everyone around her. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was like stressed all the time. Nobody understood. It was like 20 25 years ago, so the science were not where it is right now,
Yes.
and so they
Yeah.
couldn't understand. And I was like, I was just convinced that there was something more than just like that medical system.
Wow. Wow, that young, huh? When you were 12 and then you
Yes.
witnessed your mother suffering of
Yeah.
her own cancer. And then
Yeah.
that time you was just so click, yeah? To
Yeah, I mean,
understood that?
yeah, it was like something that was internalized, because when it was like that throughout my life. I was 6 years old. I started school, and I was like, this is not cool. Like, I just didn't want to go into the school system, because I wanted to be writing stories, because I wanted to be like an
Oh.
author at 6 years old. I wanted to write stories. And so I didn't understand why we had to do math and like all of those other stuff that didn't make sense for me at the time. I wasn't ready to learn all of that. And so I was
Um,
like, I was protesting. And in that first grade, I got so sick because nobody was listening to me, and I got sick, and I got like hospitalized, and it was in my ear. And I got like, I had like a strong allergic reaction to medication that they were giving me for my ear infections. And
oh.
so looking back, yeah, I missed school for like 2 weeks. It was my birthday, it was like all chaotic, but it was like something to learn from, right? I couldn't be heard. Like I was saying, like, it's not right. I don't feel
Uh-huh.
good in that system. And
Yeah.
people were not listening to me because I had to go to school and I had to do this. And so when my mother got sick, well, she had to do like chemio, and she had to
Yeah.
do this and this and this. But to have to do something, like, you're not connected with your heart space for sure. You're right here, you're in your head if
Yeah.
you have to do
Yes.
something, you know
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
so
And
you got that.
many
Yeah.
people stay in the head so
Well,
much.
yeah.
Like I was.
Yeah.
I used to be
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, exactly. I totally understand that. I mean, like, it's the forte, like, that's where we're going, like, because of the cultural conditioning that we have right now. And so for me, like, the healing process started very early on. My consciousness was very open very, very early on. And I internalized that all throughout my life by journaling. I had like journals like since I was 6. And like I had like thousands of journals. Like they were like, I
Wow.
had boxes and boxes of like stuff that I was writing that I was
Wow.
not communicating with anyone. And
Wow. And I think you were being in a very much deep solitude yourself, because to me
yeah.
being solitude is part of the self-love as well.
Yeah, and when you're that young and no one is telling you that this is okay, it felt like I was always rejected. I felt like people were bullying me, and just because I couldn't understand what was going on, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I got to a place where I actually shut down, and I decided to just like
Oh.
um not to go in that space anymore, because it was, I don't know, it wasn't helping me socially, and I kind of want to have like friends and, like do
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
parties
yeah.
and, and so that was like when my mother died. We didn't have a good relationship, but when my mother died, like it was kind of a relief, and so that's when I went on the path of like, I don't know, self destruction, like drugs, sex, alcohol,
Mm.
all that stuff. And I was
Wow. Yeah,
numbing
yeah, yeah.
myself because it was in a deep way, kind of like you feel like you fail something, because I
Yeah, yeah,
knew,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
I
I
understand
ha-
how it felt.
yeah, And I had like an aunt that was like my mother's sister that was thinking kind of not exactly the same way than me, but kind of. And they were fighting all the time because of that, because she was like, you gotta address, like you gotta conflict, you gotta talk about it. And my mother was like closed up. She didn't want to go there. It was too
Yeah.
painful for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah. And later on, like when I got pregnant, that's when it all like got back to me. I was always like understanding stuff in deeper
Hmm.
meanings, but I was keeping it to myself always. But then when I had my kid, I don't know, something shifted. And that's where
Yeah.
I truly understood what love is. You know,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
I was so in love. I was so in love with that being, like to have her grow in my belly. I was obsessed. I was obsessed. Like I was looking at myself, and not like myself, my body self, but kind of like just looking at this pregnancy and like my belly, and I
Yes,
was like,
it was, yeah, it was most beautiful moment even for me. My God, after I was so aware and knowing myself, what did I do this? I mean, here I am, with my pregnancy for my first baby. I'm so into it with the stress. No, no
yeah,
way. And then it's just 1 second. It's just 1 second. Thank God, I could hold myself back. And then right after that, I give so much love for Nicola, which is the eldest one, and then Tatiana, the second one. And then I look after myself, I'm pampering them, and then holistically, I learn everything just to make sure, that I bring them into life, with
yes,
love, with care.
yeah,
I look after myself, look after them by myself. I didn't use nurse, you know
yeah,
babysitter, and then I breastfeeding, and then everything, I'm just into it, just
yeah,
to make sure that this my next generation will be better. I
yeah,
mean, they don't carry on the same trauma that I do have, although
yeah,
certain part I also realize, that they also raise up through my trauma,
yeah,
with my trauma.
exactly.
Yeah, but after my modalities come across my life, I learned so much through that, through the process myself. Then I do inner work with them. I pay back pay back the things that I have done to them. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I'm exactly the same. Like when I first got like this baby in my arm, like it was like I never opened the book to understand how to raise a kid. Like it was all from intuition because that love
Yes,
center was
yes,
so open. It's like I was downloading, I was connecting with
yes,
that being, and it was like, all right, so she's hungry right now. I could feel it. I could feel it like in my breast, of course, but I could just like feel before she was even hungry. I was like, all right, she's gonna need to eat. And then we were so
yes,
connected, and we were
yeah.
co-sleeping, and like she didn't wear diapers because I was like, I'm gonna understand when you need to go, and so
Wow,
when you
the
need to
same!
go.
The same to me! I didn't use diapers myself for both. And then I know, you know what, Marigold? Okay, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock now, they made a pee. Okay, and then I observe, and then observe until I know, okay, now next one they will do. And then I
Yeah,
brought her there, to the toilet so that they can make the pee by themselves.
yeah,
Yeah, the same.
yes. I mean, like it was just like connecting so deeply with another being. It was just, it was eye opening, but it was mostly heart opening.
Heart opening. Heart
Our
opening.
heart opening all the way. I mean, like, and we had like such a great relationship, and like she was a late speaker, and I always figured that she was a late speaker because we were always together, and she didn't have to speak because I always knew what was going on, you know? And so when she went into the world, she was like, oh shit, I need to speak. All right.
Okay. So
So
funny.
but it was just like a way to connect with her and with me as well, and to forgive myself when I'm not like
Mm,
the best mother, or when I like lose my temper, and to just like be able to say, we're not perfect, I'm still human, and sometimes I'm
yeah.
not like 100% there. Sometimes I'm stressed, sometimes I have like trouble in something, whatever, but to be able to just like go to her and to just like say, I'm so sorry, that wasn't my intention. I if you can forgive me, and to just like be able to explain, and to be there to notice her behavior and my behavior, and to be able to heal stuff. And then I had like another daughter after that, and we're doing the same thing. And I have a stepdaughter, which is like just so amazing, and she's
Wow.
she's learning so much right now, like that emotional space. And she's such an open person, like she sees stuff that no one else sees, and it's like
Mm,
teaching her how not to be afraid of that, but to just like keep that heart open, so that those stuff, when they're like maybe shadowy, like they're not affecting you,
yeah.
because they
Yeah.
don't get to affect you, like you don't let them, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, you have to
You are in
focus on
control. You're in
exactly.
control. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have to be like victim to those things. Like
Yes.
it happens, like we all have those shadows. They're all there, and it's just a
Yes.
matter of not giving them the wheels. You're
Yes.
driving the
Yes. Yes.
car with your heart, not
Yes.
with your shadow.
Yes. 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 That's why a couple of days ago I post in my FB that do not be afraid with the shadow works. Shadow work is your best teacher. I mean, they come to you to tell you that this is not the true you, so work on yourself and then
Yeah.
say thank you to that shadow work, that you just clean the shadow. You just like you see the cloud passing
Yes.
by because you are actually the sky. You are the sky. You are in control of yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So when I was in the dark moment and then I'm feeling blue, I just keep remind myself, first I will do with the compassion technique. I will give compassion to myself. It's okay. I acknowledge, I accept, I allow to feel.
Yeah.
I give space. I give my feelings a special container for them to feel secure with myself. And then after that, gradually they disappear, slowly, gentle with kindness. And then after that, then I will investigate myself why I feel the way I feel, from what subject, from what
Yeah.
moment, from what
Yeah.
scar, which the wounded heart that I still keep with myself.
Yeah.
And I work on it. Maybe it needs couple days, even weeks, even months. I serve them. I said it's
Yeah.
okay, no problem, no problem. The trauma is not your fault, but as an adult, you need to fix it. You need to shift it
Yeah.
and be responsible for it. That's it.
Yeah.
because
And but
because yeah, I know that ancestor wants us to do this job as well.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
and
why
and
we are
by
here.
doing this, yeah, exactly. And by doing this, by healing those ancestral trauma, like what we're giving to our kids, and what they're gonna give to their kids and to their kids. And I just see the bigger picture, and I see that human
Correct.
species go like in other realms of consciousness,
Yes.
because for me, like, since the beginning of this life, it's just like this cannot be it. Like, this was my thought, this cannot be it, it cannot be just this. Like, we were
Yes.
born, we go to kindergarten, we go to school, we go to work, and we die, and that's it. And it's like,
No.
it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think that that's why we're here.
Yes. Yes, very nice statement from you, which is you always take the bigger picture. Yeah, which is Stephen Covey said, begin with the end of mind. You know, and then
Yeah,
myself follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is the future self. You know,
yeah,
and whatever it is, and that future self, bigger picture, begin with the end of your mind. You know, that's all matter, because
yeah,
if we don't have that bigger picture, I mean, we could lose hope in the halfway. Not even we started, we die
yeah.
standing already.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
yeah,
Because it can be hard. And so when you're just thinking about yourself, you're like, I don't want that. I want to be comfortable. But when you see the bigger picture, like, and you can like just like relate to the next generation and to
yeah.
the whole world, it's like, well, that's why I'm doing it. You know?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I learned from the family constellation,
Mm.
and then as well as from the ancestral pattern that I have gained knowledge from. I I knew that I am here to create the full circle to be finished with me, so that
Yeah.
I don't create another issue, another pattern into my next generation.
Yes.
And my next
Yes.
generation could create their own story, their own song, without this entanglement,
Yeah.
because I create my own completion,
Yeah.
my own story finish, and they can create their own story
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
needing,
Exactly.
to bring it on into the future themselves, you see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like my motherhood, like the way I mother my kids. It's I chose not to send them to school because of that, because exactly of that, because like if we can actually create our lives the way we feel is right, and we can like wake up in the morning when we feel like waking up, and we eat when we feel like eating, and we learn what we're truly in love with, when we learn what we're truly in love with. And my theory was like, if we can do that as kids, like I the way we're gonna thrive as adult was like, it's gonna be insane, it's gonna
Wow,
be so cool to be able to
so
start your
cool.
life, start your life from what you love, to do. And so I see my three kids like going through that exactly right now,
Beautiful.
they're learning different thing like from one another, and they're just so different, but they're all like thriving in their ways, and when they're not, like, it's my role to just like go and open a space and like build trust with
Yes.
them, to
Yeah.
make them like open their heart, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a challenge, sometimes
Yes,
it's
of course.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we're doing it like all the time, because we're not like bothered with like going to school and doing homeworks and all of that, like, and so we can actually focus on that. And I don't know, they're just so beautiful, all of them. They're just so beautiful because they do
I'm
what they
very
love
sure.
every day, every day,
I'm
every
very
day.
sure. Yeah, yeah. The same with my two angels, Nicola and Tatiana. I mean, I've never had so much concern for them to do, to be exact what the school asked them to do.
Yeah.
And then I even teach them, to be free with themselves and have a free will, and then not to be bothered if you are different, because
Yes.
indeed you are different.
Yeah.
Indeed you are
Yeah.
different. And then Khalil Gibran said inside his quote, poem, that look your children as the smartest, the most intelligent human being.
Yes.
you know they could create their own story, maybe bigger, much more brighter than the parents itself. Because why?
Well, yeah.
Because yeah, because why? Because maybe, as a parent, we've been conditioned, so don't create the same pattern to them
Yeah.
by conditioning them, and then
Yeah.
make them as a wing, as a bird who has two wings that they can fly, and then they create their own uniqueness,
Yeah.
and be with themselves. And
Yeah.
sure enough, they are. They are both of
Yeah.
them. They are who they are, as authentic as they could be.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. I just love that so much. And I feel like exactly like that. If we raise our kids to be themselves, wherever, whenever the setup is, however you're doing it, but if that's the intent behind it,
Yeah,
like it's,
yeah,
for me it's a win. Like because
yes,
it's so hard to not be yourself and to fight yourself,
yeah,
to fight
yeah,
with yourself, to do something that you don't like to do, you know,
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
Like, I mean, isn't it like when we're connected with our heart, like it's like, I don't know, we want to do that kind of loving stuff all the time. You want to love what you're doing.
yes, yes. That's why, my big why reason as well, to spread my love and my lights into Muslim community, is because I understood that I also been conditioned by environment.
Mm-hmm.
They also been conditioned by their own environment, and
Yeah.
I could see that if I could help or inspire them,
Mm-hmm.
for their own life, so that at least they found themselves as original, as authentic
Yeah.
as they could, then they could see this universe, this life, from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And who knows, with this different perspective, they could understand Allah, they could understand God in
Mm-hmm.
the most brightest angle that they could
Yeah.
possibly have. Because
Yeah.
I understand that my connection with God is is purely between myself and him.
Yeah.
And the same with them. The same with them. So through these modalities that I introduced to them, and slowly, gradually, they understand better for their religion.
Mm-hmm.
They could understand better about their connection with him,
Yeah.
and then the wisdom will flow. It's like a red carpet in front
Yeah.
of them, and it is up to them to
Yeah.
make another step, to
Yes.
climb to another next level.
Yes.
And surely God always be with us to give the light along the way. Yeah, so
Yeah.
my job is just to drop a little message, and to reintroduce to them that you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the
Mm.
entire ocean in one drop.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
that's
I love
that's what
that.
Rumi said.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. It is so well said. That is so
Yeah, that's
cool.
why many people falling in love with Rumi, because this
Yes.
Persian, this Persian man is so genius. I
Yeah.
mean, he touched down in the most deepest energy level, into the atom of any essence. And and to me, like, wow, if god create Rumi in this way, you know I could do the same. That's why
Yeah.
I motivate myself. Come on, Rumi can do that. Khalil Gibran can do that. Also, the same with you. Come on, come on.
Yes, 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 yes. So
Yeah,
cool.
sometimes we can be so crazy. Both of us can be so crazy, searching for the wisdom. And then we attract
Yes.
universe in such a way. Come on, universe, give it to me more, give it to me. But by the time the universe give it to us, the lesson, the contrast, sometimes we also got bombarded. Oh no, no.
Yeah.
Stop for a while. Stop for a while.
Yeah, it goes too fast.
Yes, it goes too fast.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that's
So
how my journey. Yeah,
yeah, I love your story. I love your work. And so right now, what are you doing? Like you're doing those conferences. Like, are you
yeah,
coaching people also? Like, can people reach out to you?
yeah, yeah. What I'm doing for this 17 years in Indonesia and goes into 11 years in Malaysia is continue my path, my calling to reintroduce and then to coach them after they understand, and then to upgrading the knowledge within myself, and then reintroduce that upgrading myself to them. And I do coaching, I do personal coaching, and I do a special preview to introduce to the people who don't know about this. And then after from this free preview, they will then take up the class into the deeper level. So my classes has a many stage,
Nice.
from the basic breathing, peace breathing, and then mbp. Mbp is the magnetic belief power, and then after that, radical compassion, and
Mm.
then radical acceptance, and then the heart coherence. And then
Mm-hmm.
now I'm undergoing of the breath master and the 9D breath work as well, and then
Nice.
ancestor pattern. And then I also bring along the collaborators, so that they could share their own wisdom, their
Nice.
module into my community. And then now I have stepped up into the different program. I step up into the create Islamic module
Uh-huh.
special, which is marrying science, spirituality with the religion itself. And so I gather one of my partner, Ustad Safwan from Malaysia, and then I, in conjunction with, we create a special module so that we can introduce into the very specific Islamic community, Muslim people, so that they don't live far away from the essence itself,
Yeah.
uh, of what Islam try to offer them,
Yeah.
because the approachment that we are handling is a kind of science. So
Yes.
they also know that, wow, based on science, you know what I read in the Quran, yeah,
Mm.
is this is this is
Yeah.
the meaning, and this is the reality. So
Yeah.
they could make a special connection between what they have read in the Quran, you know, in
Mm.
science as well. Yeah,
Yeah. I love that.
yeah.
That is so cool. So how do people can reach out to you?
Yes. Through my FB, and then through my Instagram, and then as well as my belief that I reach out to them door to door as well. I introduce myself into their community. I took my initiative myself. I took my initiative myself to introduce myself to them. You know, and then as well as I do on live. But now, because of my schedule back to back quite full, I didn't do the FB live as often as before.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, through my message, through the community that I'm touching the heart with, they spread out the message.
Yeah.
And that's how we could gather together with the larger community,
That is
larger
so cool.
audience. Yeah,
That
that's
is
so
so
far like
cool.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm gonna link everything, your Facebook, your Instagram. I'm gonna link
yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
in the show notes so that people can actually reach out to you.
Oh, thank
And
you so much.
well, yeah, I mean, like this is what it is, right? Like the whole podcast sphere, it's all a matter
Yeah,
of like connecting with people and so that we can
yeah,
grow that community, and so we can have
yeah,
more
yeah,
help in more different ways.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you.
Because
Thank
yes,
you.
yeah, because the Muslim community that I have approached, this many years already, um, it is very obvious that they
Mm.
need a special channel. They need a person who could make them understand what is the missing link that they need to
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
and then how to translate better what they have read in the Quran, and then as well as the hadith. Hadith means the message from the prophet, you know,
Yeah.
into the science,
Yeah.
so they could understand easily what it
Yeah.
means, and then I make a special connection with their daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, so they could feel that they are one with whatever they have been learning so
Yes.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my
Yes.
mission as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think that it could relate to any other religion, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
I
the
think
Bible is
so.
the same thing. When you read the Bible throughout, like there's so many good messages. It's all about love and acceptance, and it's
Yeah,
not necessarily what we're seeing how it is right now in the world, you know,
yeah,
and like fighting for religion. Like we're all doing the same thing, we're all saying the same thing, and when we're connecting with our heart, doesn't matter who you're praying to, you know, it's just a matter, you know, it's just like you're gonna pray to somebody, to something that is bigger than you, because it comes from love. And
yeah.
so
Come from love.
yeah, so
Yeah,
thank you so much, Shanti. It was such an honor and a pleasure to have you on the podcast. You're
thank
just
you.
so amazing.
Thank you so much, Marigo Era. My deep of honoring yourself and as well as this podcast. May you all be blessed. And then any viewers from your podcast be blessed too, with the abundance life, prosperity, blissful life. And we are one. And this podcast spread out into each everyone who are ready to receive, and then perhaps who are not ready, one day they will be ready. And hopefully, this path will be continuously growing. Yeah, because love always heal, and then light is everywhere in each
Yeah,
corner of this universe. And thank you so much for bringing
thank
me
you.
into here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
All right, my beautiful beings, that was our last interview for Let's Create the Revolution Together. I want to thank you so much for being here with us, with me, throughout these almost like 30 episodes. I want to leave you with the takeaways of today. So, the first one is that heart consciousness is a very, very, very powerful source. The second one is that breathing is a great way to connect with ourselves and our art. The third one is to open your heart space, and if you do that, it will help you connect with unconditional love. Another takeaway for today is to learn how to be strong from the heart space instead of closing up to protect ourselves. And another one is that when you understand yourself, you understand others. And I want to give you a bonus one that Shanti dropped at the end of this interview when she was quoting Rumi. Um, and she said that you are not a drop in the ocean, you're an entire ocean in a drop. And so she quoted Rumi when she said that, and I felt like it was so valuable and so beautiful. Yeah, so let me know what are your takeaways for this episode. And if you want to register for the free workshop on motherhood, just please register. There's a link in the description down below. You can go at marigoldera.com/free workshop also. Thank you so much for being here with me. It was such a pleasure, and I'll see you next week in this last solo episode for Let's Create the Revolution Together. Much love and much gratitude to all of you.